Let's get into it. Sold Not For Sale podcast. Coach Colin here. We got Joe Rogan talking about something that happened in New York City. Alvin Bragg's assistant DA got robbed by, you guessed it, an illegal immigrant. The people that they fight so hard to keep on the streets. Person had a record. They are a gang member. And wouldn't you know it, they robbed a person. Wow. Well, Elon Musk chimes in about this. I'm going to show you what he had to say about it. And I'm going to show you all the buzzing that's been going on around X towards this case, as well as footage of the man who actually committed the crime and how he doesn't seem to care whatsoever. And why would you? You're in New York and you know you're getting out within 24 hours, no matter what you did. Punch a police officer, rob a lady, doesn't really matter. Then we're going to be touching on JD Vance and Joe Rogan talking about assimilation, illegal immigration, and what really needs to happen for this to be good. And just spoiler alert, it's not letting 20 million people into the country illegally. Sorry, had to spoil it for some of you. We're going to start with the Joe Rogan clip. We'll get into the rest after.
That's what I did in L.A. When I lived in L.A., I lived like an hour outside L.A. I did when I first moved there, and then I slowly started moving further and further away until I got about an hour outside.
I am not comfortable in L.A. anymore. I used to be.
It's crazy.
I sleep with one eye open.
Yeah.
I sold my house. I got rid of that place in the valley. I was just home invasions everywhere.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like what they've done to that city in a short amount of time is shocking. I never thought it would go that bad that fast, and it's the way it is now. It's bizarre. I always say that it's like a girl that used to date. She was really cute, but now she does meth and she works for the cartel. Like, what happened to you?
The pandemic happened.
You just remember her from when she was so sweet and cool.
Yeah.
Well, the pandemic was the reason why the government was able to up that city. The pandemic was just, that was their way to up the city.
Dude, there were stacks of bricks.
Yeah.
On the street.
Yeah,
like,
stacks
we all
of
know where
bricks.
that came from. And
stacks of bricks that somebody left there hoping someone would throw through windows.
Starting riots. And
yeah.
Stuff. That's some weirdo shit, bro.
It's like,
it's spooky and scary.
It's spooky. I don't like to go full Batman on this, but it's like there's evil villains out there that are pulling the strings of the world. And that's real. Those protests are organized, man. People spend a lot of money to organize those things and then put bricks out. The whole thing was designed to disrupt society. And then the defund the police, how anybody bought into that is so crazy. Reform the police, yeah. Train the police better, yeah. But defund them? Are you
all
crazy?
not be safe. Because
are you out of your mind? Do you not know the law of the jungle? Do you not know the real streets?
Let me know when your house gets robbed. You wanted to, you're not going to get a cop. Like, he's not coming now.
I have had so many friends that completely flipped a 180 after they got robbed.
Yeah, right?
180. They're Trump supporters now. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's like,
people that were
mean?
like full-on liberals. And then they, get a gun pointed in their face, and all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, this is what we signed up for? You're just letting these people out? Yeah. Like, you arrest these people and let them out, and then they just do it again, and they get arrested? Like, what the f***?" The assistant to the DA in New York just got attacked. Just got by some guy who had been, see if you can find this. He got robbed by some guy who had been arrested some insane amount of times since 2023. I was looking at the story online. I was like, this is so crazy that this person just keeps getting out and keeps robbing people and then just robbed the assistant to the DA. Alvin Bragg.
ROR'd out.
Here it is. Suspected gang member accused of exposing himself, robbing Manhattan district. Exposing himself. He pulled his dick out and he robbed him. Exposing himself is funny because they have, go to the headline, exposing himself is first. The robbing part, that's second. But he showed him his penis. That is unbelievable. Unbelievable. What is wrong with this world? I don't mean to laugh about
it, but it's just like, it's comedy, bro. It's like satire almost.
Brandon Samosa confronted the 38-year-old victim in the hallway of her building on West 44th Street around 2 a.m. Authorities say he grabbed the victim's purse, cell phone, and bank card before exposing himself. He pulled his dick out after he robbed her. He robbed her first, but they put it exposing himself for like the most horrible thing that he did. Police were able to track the phone and eventually arrest him near a hotel on West 45th Street, 8th Avenue on Tuesday, leading authorities to believe the suspect is a migrant. Possession of drugs. No, they know who the guy is, Jamie. They caught the guy. He's been, see if you can find a more updated version of it, because he was arrested a ton of times since 2023. Exposing himself makes more sense now that it's a lady. I thought, was that Jamie?
It's still on there.
Oh, okay, right there. He's been arrested 6 times in the last 5 months for similar crimes. 6 times. Wouldn't you think after 5 times they go, hey, maybe this guy's a real criminal?
Yeah, we might need to lock him up.
Maybe we need to put him in jail. Maybe he's a real criminal. Nope, keep him out there.
There's reasons.
Jesus Christ. That's the world we're living in now, and that's L.A., and that's New York, and that's a lot of places that got f***ed up by incompetent people.
I don't know. I just feel safer knowing, like...
Pull this microphone with your face.
I feel safer knowing that Trump is in office.
I do too.
Among some of the activists in the United Kingdom, maybe than you do in certain Arab countries. And that's crazy.
It is crazy, but it goes along with this thing that we've been talking about. I think essentially people have sort of a built-in mode, a program in their mind that accepts religious doctrines. And these religious doctrines could be woke, it could be hardcore right-wing conservative Christian fundamentalism, or it could be Islamic doctrine. But
But this is why assimilation is so important, right? That, look, I'm married to the daughter of immigrants. I do think that immigration can enrich this country. I do think that immigrants, many of them, are bringing a lot of to the table. But we have to be honest with ourselves that permitting 500,000 immigrants in a society like ours is much different than permitting 5 million or 50 million immigrants. And importantly, where are the immigrants coming from? What are their values? What are their economic skills? There's something...
What's their criminal record?
What's their criminal record? There's something very, in sort of the modern... Again, this is a new thing because this is not Bill Clinton liberalism. This is something that we're seeing today where they don't even want to talk about the quality and the backgrounds and the skills of people coming into our country. Somehow it's fundamentally racist to say, well, we don't want certain people of certain backgrounds to be in the United States of America. No, it's just common sense. I mean, let me sort of give you a very specific example, okay? So, ask yourself, should America accept 100,000 immigrants from Mexico, okay? Just in the abstract. Well, Mexico is a gigantic country with millions upon millions of people. Who are we talking about? Are we talking about people who speak English as a second language and don't have criminal backgrounds? Or are we talking about people who don't even read and write in Spanish and do have criminal backgrounds? Because those same groups of people, even though they come from the country we call Mexico, are going to assimilate and contribute to America's society much differently. There's something in the modern liberal mind that doesn't even allow you to ask the question, who does America benefit from bringing into this country? And if the answer is we don't benefit, then why would we bring them into the country?
Well, it's also the concept of being anti-open border somehow or another became attached instead of safety. It became attached to xenophobia. It became attached to racism. And when you confront people and say, do you know that Venezuela is literally opening their prisons and instructing people to just cross into America? Like, no. When you tell one of the wildest ones, I think it was you, we're having a conversation with a woman where you're discussing the gangs in Aurora, Colorado that have taken
me.
And she was like, it's only a couple buildings.
And imagine if that's your community. It's only a couple of apartment complexes, right, with hundreds of people that have been taken over by Venezuelan gangs. I think, Joe, the right number of apartment complexes taken over by Venezuelan gangs is 0.
It's in San Antonio, too. It's happening in San Antonio.
It's happening everywhere.
It's so crazy that people don't want to admit to this because if they do, it's empowering the right. And they think it's going to help Donald Trump get elected. So they're turning a blind eye to dangerous criminals crossing the border with no recourse, no tracking. You can't do anything about it.
Well, you see this in some...
Man, very interesting. Right off the bat with this clip with JD and Rogan, why wouldn't you want to assess the people coming in based on skills? Because legal immigrants have to do that. Legal immigrants, like so many times, if you're working for an American company, or if you're going to be, the American company kind of has to make the case that only you who are in Canada or only you who are in the Nether or wherever, only you can do the position. They've exhausted their American options. They have to make that case. You have to have these abilities. You have to the genius visa, creative visa. There's all these different things that you have to get. You don't have to get all of them, but you have to fall into some kind of category and you have to have some kind of skill. There is no I'm just coming in. There's none of that. You can't do that. So why do the illegals get that? Like, why shouldn't it be by skill? Like, what do you do? Oh, you've been a carpenter for how long? 25 years? Okay. We can work with you. All right. Why is that a problem? It's weird. It's weird that that's an issue. To think that you're not allowed to ask them anything. And then you have the system set up where they can lie to you so easily. And do. and do 100%. Just to touch on what JD Vance and Trump are. Oh, I get Rogan confused with Trump now, how right-winged he is. Oh, he's an extremist now. Sorry, guys. JD Vance and Rogan, this is what they were talking about.
The incidents were limited to a handful of apartment complexes, and the mayor said our dedicated police officers have acted on those concerns. A handful of problems.
Only, Martha, do you hear yourself? Only a handful of apartment complexes in America were taken over by Venezuelan gangs, and Donald Trump is the problem and not Kamala Harris's open border? Americans are so fed up with what's going on, and they have every right to be. And I really find this exchange, Martha, sort of interesting because you seem to be more focused with nitpicking everything that Donald Trump has said rather than acknowledging that apartment complexes in the United States of America are being taken over by violent gangs. I worry so much more about that problem than anything else here. We've got to get American communities in a safe space again. And unfortunately, when you let people in by the millions, most of whom are unvetted, most of whom you don't know who they really are, you're going to have problems like this. Kamala Harris, 94 executive orders that undid Donald Trump's successful border policies. We knew this stuff would happen. They bragged about opening the border, and now we have the consequences, and we're living with it. We can do so much better, but frankly, we're not going to do better, Martha, unless Donald Trump calls this stuff out. I'm glad that he did.
It's just a couple. It's just a couple. AOC comes in. They just need bread. Listen, the only reason they took over those apartment complexes is because they need bread to eat. Okay? And if you guys weren't so fascist with your bread, maybe they'd be okay. But this is where we're at, you know? You guys are racist. Very interesting. You know they're floating her and Gavin Newsom for 2028? You're going to get bulldozed. You kidding me? It's going to be Tulsi and JD, Tulsi and Vivek, JD and Vivek, Donald Trump and JD, Donald Trump Jr. and Tulsi. You're getting bulldozed. That's it. Are you kidding me? Crazy. Sorry, off topic. Anyway, let's get into the actual case. This is the gentleman. Yep. 5 arrests since 2023. Yeah, Venezuelan gang, TDA. That's Tren de Agua or something like that. I can't pronounce it. And yes, taxpayer paid hotel. Yes, this is him. And of course he's loving life. He's in a free hotel. Can you imagine you're living on the streets of Venezuela? You go through this crazy trip to get to America, and then you get there, and they're like, you can stay in the Roosevelt. And you're like, what?
A smiling Brandon Somoza being led out of the Midtown South precinct on West 35th Street this morning. Police say at about 2 a.m. Sunday, he robbed a 38-year-old woman in the hallway of her Hell's Kitchen apartment building. He allegedly grabbed her purse, cell phone, and bank cards and also performed a lewd act. The victim is a Manhattan assistant DA. She was not injured. Police traced her stolen cell phone to a hotel on West 45th Street, which led them to believe the suspect is a migrant, and they were able to track him down. Somoza was arrested just last night. Police say he was using drugs on the street and had stolen items with him. Police believe he is part of Tren de Aragua. That's the Venezuelan gang that has preyed on people in Times Square and Central Park. Somoza is facing a number of counts, including sexually motivated robbery and burglary. He also has 6 prior arrests, all from this year on similar crimes. And he's believed to have arrived in the U.S. in February of 2023. In Lower Manhattan, Lauren Glassberg, Channel 7 Eyewitness News. A smile.
Can you imagine how bad a system is that someone gets here in 2023 and by 2024 they're like, I'm pretty sure I can rob an assistant DA and pull it out after I rob them. I'm pretty sure that's how this place works. Could you imagine? It's not funny that he did that. It's not funny. And that lady will be traumatized. And although she worked with Alvin Bragg and prosecuted Trump and on nothing, you know, it's still crazy. But do you know, I'm still going to make jokes. This is my podcast. How relaxed you have to be? How sure of yourself that you're going to get let out of jail? That you're like, I'm going to rob someone. You know that's what we do, guys, right? When I'm done, gonna pull it out. What? Yeah, when I'm done, I'm gonna pull it out. No, you can't do that. After you rob them, you gotta run. Nah, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna walk away too. Yep, I'm fine. It's cool. Whatever. How brazen. You know? Holy, a lot of people are comparing it to this guy. I shouldn't just say this guy. I should say his name. Marine, this is Danielle. Is that how? I'm going to say Daniel. Just show him some respect. Marine Daniel Penny. He has a bail of $200,000, I believe. Or he did at least. You know, facing jail time, possibly. This gentleman, you know, facing some cases, you know. It's not like he got off scot-free. I'll admit that. But it's just so wild. This guy here didn't get to walk out like that. Didn't get to walk out with a smile. Nothing like that. And he was defending people when he did what he did. And he didn't want the chokehold that he had the gentleman in to go bad, you know, on the subway, because that's what that case is. I don't know if you guys remember. On a subway, there was someone attacking people. There's women and children on the train. This gentleman took it into his own hands. The chokehold that he put the person in was a little lethal. The person ended up passing away. But he didn't intend for that to happen. This guy, on the other hand, he pulled it out on purpose. Guys, we all know if it's out, it's on purpose. We all know that, okay? I'm not making jokes. It might be funny. That's on you if you're laughing, okay? That's not on me. But if it's out, it's on purpose. Let's not play this game. Am I right? Anyway, we have ABC. They're jumping in. Oh, with such an interesting take. They're trying to let us know right away that there is zero link between crime, violent or otherwise, and illegal immigration.
Essentially been a massive political...
I should have him speak twice as fast because who wants to hear this guy? Ike. His name's Ike. I don't want to hear Ike say all this, but here we go.
Rod, here in this country, and you said it there yourself, the president-elect campaigning on the death of Laken Riley and pointing to the current administration, saying that their laws and what they're calling failed policies contributed to Laken Riley's death. I want to remind you that Ibarra entered this country illegally in 2022, according to law enforcement officials, and he was paroled and released for further processing by ICE. And since that time he entered the country, he was arrested another time. Law enforcement officers saying that he was arrested in 2023 in New York City and charged with acting in a manner to injure a child less than 17, as well as a motor vehicle violation. But it's important to note that although there is very little evidence indicating a connection between immigration and violent crime, this is still something the President-elect Trump, several Republicans on the Hill wanted to essentially plant their flag on and point that to the current Biden administration. And we saw that even as early as President Biden's latest State of the Union address, where Georgia Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene infamously interrupted President Biden, forcing him to acknowledge the death of Laken Riley, something that President Biden did by holding up a pin in her during that State of the Union. But it is important to note that all of this vitriol that we're hearing from Republicans and President-elect Trump regarding the policies of the Biden administration, it's important to know that President-elect Trump did force Republicans to essentially tank a bipartisan border.
Just so you guys know, this is actually President Trump's fault, everything that's happening right now. And
how does this guy sound whiter than I do? What? I never met a black guy sounded whiter than I do. Jeez. What's going on, Ike? Are we related or something? Anyway, I hope not. With this nonsense that he's spouting right now. So this is all President Trump's fault. This is the case in terms of Laken Riley. It seems like MSNBC, NBC, and ABC, this is ABC, they're all on the same page, of course, and they're all starting to talk about the case of Laken Riley and they are all starting to almost sympathize with the man who took her life in a very violent way. They're starting to sympathize with him. He had no chance, and we all knew what was going to happen with this case right away. And this guy's talking about how there's no link between immigration and crime and this and that. It's like it's not the color of the people's skin, and it's not even where they're from. It's just that they're unvetted. They could be white people from Russia. If they're just not vetted, it's bad. It could be very bad. You could let in violent criminals. I can't even believe this is still something that they're trying to do, the mainstream media. This is why Elon Musk is going to buy MSNBC. Oh, man. I hope he does. I hope he lets me run it. I'm telling you I can do it. I know it sounds weird. I don't have a lot of subscribers and stuff. I know I could do it. I could do it so well. So well, right away. Anyway, they're comparing it to also this gentleman here. They're comparing this guy. Again, there's no link to immigration and violent crime. Illegal immigration, I should say, and violent crime. This gentleman on the side here served this country, $200,000 bail. He was trying to defend women and children on a train. This guy here committed a heinous act on a lady. That's all I'll say about that. And he got away. What was it? Oh, he was released without bail. So $200,000 released without bail. And the heinous thing is the heinous thing that I can't say on here, but you know exactly what it is. It's crazy. But there's no link. There's no link, like Ike said. Just to keep in mind, the president-elect actually caused all this to happen. It has nothing to do with Kamala Harris and her terrible border policies. Absolutely ridiculous. I don't know how those people sleep at night. It's so weird. They must see the real world, right? Am I wrong? They must see the real world around them and be like, wow, that's not what I'm saying. You know, even Elon Musk's mom and her friends got robbed in New York. Not even robbed. I think they just got assaulted. Elon was talking about it. It's just crazy. It's crazy what's happening. But anyway, in regards to the case that we were talking about, the DA, Manhattan, Alvin Bragg's assistant DA, robbed, attacked. Elon Musk chimed in and said karma is real. And we all know why he's saying that. Alvin Bragg's team has done some pretty wild lawfare. They did it very intentionally. They did it very terribly to a very good man, President Trump, President-elect Trump. And they kind of, I don't want to say they broke the law, but they resurrected a law. It was already past the statute of limitations. That seems wrong. And it's not a felony, usually. They made it into a felony. And then it should be one count just in the case of where it happened. But instead, they did a count per time it was written for 34 counts just to make it seem worse so people wouldn't vote for the guy. Seems like the law was broken, but I'm not, I wasn't attacked and robbed by a guy who pulled it out on me. So, I don't have the same legal background as these people, right? Elon chimes in. He says karma's real. And this is the face of the dude, man. Like, literally doesn't care. Literally doesn't care. And while all this is happening, ladies and gentlemen, this is happening. A whole other caravan. A whole other caravan of people heading to the United States, making sure to get in. Whole other one. Why are you covering your face? There should be no one that's allowed to cover their face as they're entering the country. You're doing it illegally. You're covering your face. You're a robber. You can't come in. Sorry. Instantly. Somebody asks you a question. You don't answer. No, sorry. You got to turn back. Sorry. Like, really? But yeah, there's a lot of people coming in, man. There's a lot of people. Now, apparently, this is one of, I believe, 6 caravans. This is the 6th one. Yes, exactly. It's leaving Chiapas. I'm just going to say Mexico. Since the president of Mexico has taken over, 5 have left. And basically, what this is saying is that they're all doing this in an expedited fashion because they all know that Trump's getting into office. So they know they won't be able to do it this way when Trump is in place as the president. So they're doing it now while they know everything's very laxed. Again, maybe they're not getting the news. You know, maybe they just heard about Trump and they didn't hear about Tom Homan. Oh, somebody tell them about Tom Homan, because even I'm scared of Tom Homan. He's an intimidating gentleman. Oh, when they hear about Tom Homan, I'm sure this caravan here will be turning the other way. I assure you. But yeah, this is, one of 6 that's come in recently. I mean, let's just stop here. Let's just say that this street is not as big as I think it is. The people go down all the way to there. When does Mexico take when do they take responsibility? Do they not have to? Is there some law in place where they don't have to take responsibility? It seems like they should take responsibility. You know? Like if I had a friend and he told everybody where I lived and then directed them to my house and then was like, this window's open, I'd be like, oh, not my friend. Oh no, call the police, everybody out of my house, When does Mexico get called out for this? I really hope, it's not on the docket for Trump. There's a lot of things that we've heard about Trump wanting to do. I hope it's not, because it shouldn't just be like, we got to work with Mexico. It should be like, what were you guys doing? Why are you guys doing that? Oh, well, they didn't want to be here, so we just let them pass through. What? Like, geez, maybe just strengthen Mexico's borders. Just strengthen there with all the docks and everything. Maybe that needs to happen. I don't know. It sounds silly, but this is why Trump wants to take on cartels, because how else are you going to stop this? The president's sitting back and watching this happen. I don't know, man. Anyway, I just wanted to bring you guys all that information. Alvin Bragg's assistant DA, listen, the part where the guy pulls it out, no one deserves that. But the rest of it, she promptly deserved. Anyways, guys, like, subscribe, turn on the notifications. Helps the channel tremendously. Other than that, I'm out.